Hi guys, and welcome back to Car Focused. What do you think to my lockdown hair? It's a proper mullet. I've literally just jumped out of bed. I haven't even done my hair, but I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and shave it pretty soon. Get my wife to shave it, or I'm going to have to shave it. So I'm going to look horrendous. Anyway, back here with the RS. As you can probably see, I'm doing bits. I've done a few bits already which I haven't filmed, and I do apologise. I've fitted a Mk2 roll restrictor underneath, which I'll try and show you it, because I need to get underneath the car in a minute anyway. And I've fitted my new number plates, which look really nice. I'll try and show you those at the end of the video. But today, you probably remember in the cleaning video I did, I mentioned that I wasn't going to get the aux belts done. I wasn't going to do the aux belts myself. This lockdown seems to be never ending, and I've done a little bit of research online, and I thought, why not just try and change these belts myself? I've got nothing to lose. The alternator isn't turning at the minute because there's no belt on the outer pulley, so why not just try and do it myself? So, I'll show you. I have ordered the belts here from Gates, a really reputable company. They produce a lot of belts for manufacturers. And what we need to do is, we need to get in here and change the belts over. So what you'd normally do, this is the belt here that's obviously missing. It would come round here, back round here. So this is the outer belt. You need a Torx bit, a T50 Torx bit to go in there to relieve the tension on that tensioner, and you can pop the belt off. But we don't need to do that because obviously there's no belt on there. So what we need to do is remove this 13mm bolt, take this tensioner out. Then we need to use this Torx key here, release tension on that tensioner, remove the inner belt, replace the inner belt, put this tensioner back on, release tension, put a belt back on here, and then we should be done. So what I've had to do is I've taken the arch liner out. It's pretty straightforward, taking the arch liner out. Obviously took the wheel off. The wheel sits there looking nice and mint. Arch liners here, these are like over 500 quid, these arch liners. It's crazy. And I've also taken my splitter off, which is for sale for 80 quid plus postage. So yeah, got the car jacked up. It's on an axle stand as well. I think I'm gonna need to take this under tray off because I really want to get sort of access to underneath this pulley here. So we're gonna do that now. We'll take the under tray off now, and then we can get cracking on changing these belts over. I usually have it up on ramps, but seeing as it's only taking this off, it should be right. Get a ratchet on this. There we go. Under tray should slip off now. There we go. Let's leave that down there. What I can do now is I can quickly show you the roll restrictor that I fitted. Have a look. Right, there it is. Pretty easy to fit. You just have to remove the bolts from the mount itself, and then the arm there. There's 4 bolts I think on that arm that you have to remove, and the whole thing just comes off, and then you bolt the new mount in and put it all back together again. It's pretty straightforward. But I did notice I have got an oil leak on my drive shaft. Oil spill is leaking, it's weeping, so that's going to need looking at some stage. But yeah, that's something else that I've done, but unfortunately I didn't film it. But other than that, underneath it's not too bad at all. There's no other leaks or anything like that. It's just surface rust really, which on a car that's 10 years old and has been dailied, you've got to expect that. Right, so we've got the under tray off. Everything is literally good to go. So what we'll do is, I think I'm just going to practice putting my Torx bit on the outer tensioner, which we don't need to detension anyway, but I just want to see how much resistance is on there, so I know what to expect when we get onto the inner tensioner. So I'll quickly give that a go now, and then we'll take the 13mm bolt out, and we'll actually remove that outer tensioner and get to the inner belt and try and get that off. Right, so this is the outer tensioner. So if this belt was actually on here and we wanted to take it off, what we'd need to do is insert your T50 Torx bit and turn it clockwise. So you see the tensioner moves up, and that releases tension on the belt. So whilst you've got that lifted up, you can then remove the belt. So next step is to take this 13mm bolt out here and remove this tensioner. So we'll get that done now. So it does actually have two locating pins as well, so when you put it back on, it can't go back in the wrong position. So now we're going to move on to the inner belt tensioner. So as you can see there, that is the key. You need to put your T50 in there. At this one, you need to turn anti-clockwise to release tension on this belt. You can see where the tensioner is and that it needs to go away from the belt, which is anti-clockwise. So I've heard these can shatter. So there we go. Let's just release the tension. So I don't know if you saw that, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to move the camera out the way because I need two hands on this, and I'll try and get this belt off. There we go, the belt's loose. Just need to remove it from the alternator. I can't really see much up there, I might have to open up the bonnet. There we go. So guys, here's the belt I've just taken off. As you can see, it's actually dated 24th of the 6th 2009, and that's the same as the belt that sheared off, the outer belt that sheared off the car. Those belts should have really been changed when the cam belt was done, but obviously they weren't, so I'm not too happy about that. Anyway, here's the new belts. Let's get them out the packaging. I need to make sure, because they're slightly different sizes, so obviously I need to put the right belt on the right pulley. So we'll get them unboxed, see which one's the same size as the one we just removed, and we'll get that one put on the alternator. So, got the new belt here. I'm just going to try and feed it through the top, so I can loop it over the top of the alternator. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but it seems like it possibly is. Because I can actually see the top of the alternator from here. So actually the easiest way was from underneath, so if you actually lie on your back underneath here, you can try and see I've just got the belt on the inner pulley here loosely, and then up the top there, if you can see, can you see? I don't want to focus, it's just loosely over the alternator. There you go. Yeah. So there's the tensioner. It's just loosely over the alternator. So we need to loosen off the tension off that tensioner, get the belt wrapped around it, and then that should fully tension the belt, and then that should be that belt done. So I'm not really going to be able to show you this bit because it's quite fiddly. So I'll see what I can do. So to do this, I need to insert the T50 again, which we need to turn anti-clockwise, and we need to try and get this belt onto the tensioner. There we go. Right, it's on. It's on. Right, belt's on. What we need to do is make sure it's correctly seated on all of the grooves on the pulleys. So you can see the bottom pulley here is correctly seated. Come on, it's correctly seated on there. We just need to try and get up and have a look at the alternator to see if it's correctly seated in there. So let's get a bit of light on the go. And it looks pretty good. Yes, so we need to put the other tensioner back on now and then repeat the process on the outer belt. So that's the inner belt in and fitted. We now need to refit the tensioner here for the outer belt. So if you make sure you put the locating pins in the two holes there, so it's in the position it needs to be in, and then insert the bolt. It's important to make sure you follow the correct torque settings with these kind of components, because if these go, these belts snapping, they can cause big issues. So the torque setting for this bolt is 45 Newton meters. Just set 45 Newton meters up on the torque wrench and we shall crank it up. There you go. Get your 2 clicks from your torque wrench. Right guys, so now what we need to do, we need to get this belt, release tension on this tensioner, slip this belt on, then let the tensioner go back into its position, and then we should be done. And it's just a case of reattaching the arch liner, getting the wheel back on, and just making sure everything is turning like it should. So to start off with, I am going to put it on this main pulley. I'll put the belt on the main pulley, and then what it needs to do is it needs to go round like this, like that. So when we release tension on that, we can get that bottom bit on. Right, so I'm going to try a different way around. I'm going to put it on this. I've put it on this bottom pulley first. I'm going to release that and then try and slip it onto this main one, because it's sort of tapered off around the edge. So it looks like it could sort of slip on more easily. So we'll give that a go now. Oh god. Oh, I'm struggling guys. This is the reality of doing stuff like this. After some struggle, I got the belt fitted. However, when I wasn't recording, I thought I was recording, and when I was recording, I thought I wasn't recording. Hence this bit of random footage. Anyway, the belt went on, and the next clip will show us trying it out for the first time. Right guys, moment of truth. Fingers crossed. Got nothing to lose if it goes tits up. Well, it's spinning. Oh, is that a success? Right guys, so that's it. Let the car run for a little bit. Belts are spinning. I haven't fallen off, so it's quite encouraging. You may have noticed that this pulley here, it appeared that it kept stopping, but the actual pulley itself on the inside was still spinning. It's just this section here which stops every now and then clicks back into motion. I don't know if that's the air conditioning pump or something like that, but you've probably heard the clicking noise it was making. I have noticed that clicking sound before I've taken all this off, like when I sort of bought the car. And somebody mentioned that it was the manifold gasket, the bolts needed nipping up or something like that. But that's clearly not the case. So if you have got a 2.5 5-cylinder turbo engine from the Ford on the ST or the RS, and you've got that clicking noise, the culprit is this. So yeah, as you can see, belts are fitted. I'm quite proud of myself actually. So yeah guys, that's it. I was pretty dubious about trying this. I was adamant I wasn't going to do it. I was going to take it to a garage. But yesterday lockdown was extended by another 3 weeks, and I was like, you know what, I want to use this car to go to work. I want to drive this thing. I'm a key worker, so I am still working. So it does give me a reason to use this car, so I can use it to go to work. And it was just bugging me that the fact it was off the road and sitting here in the garage and I couldn't use it. So yeah, I know a lot of you guys were saying, encouraging me to do the work myself. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. But ultimately, I am glad that I tried it myself. I paid 20 quid for the belts. God knows how much money I've saved myself on labour. Ford probably would have charged about 150, 200 quid knowing Ford to do this. So I've got that money now, which I can spend on something else. So yeah, thanks for you guys that were kind of egging me on to do it. I'm glad I've done it. If you want to see more videos like this of me sort of fumbling around, getting my hands dirty and trying to fix stuff on the car, then let me know, because I don't mind giving it a go as long as it's nothing too in-depth like a cam belt or something like that. Little bits like this I'm happy to sort of try and fix myself, especially when we've got more time than what we normally would have on our hands. So anyway guys, that's it. I'm going to put the arch liner back in now, put the under tray back on, get the wheel back on, get the car dropped down. I can't really take it for a road test because I don't have any essential journeys that I need to do today. So yeah, but hopefully it'll all be alright. There's no battery light on the car now, alternator's charging the battery. I fitted a new battery actually. I fitted a Bosch battery because the old battery was duff anyway. So yeah, that's it. So if you've enjoyed this video guys, as always, give it a thumbs up, comment in the box below, tell me if you've enjoyed it, if you're willing to try something like this yourself. But if you do have an RS, I would recommend that you give it a go at changing these belts yourself. It's just handy to know how to do it. It's fairly straightforward. So yeah guys, as always, thanks for watching the video. Stay safe during this sort of dodgy period we're going through. Just stay at home, only go out when you need to. The sooner we can get all this out the way, the sooner we can get back in our cars and we can enjoy ourselves. So yeah guys, thanks for watching as always, and until the next video, I shall see you soon.